and today I'm doing my Least We Forget project for my History Dual Credit class with the professor as Jordan O'Connell. We were given many historical figures to choose from, and I have chosen the revolutionist Samuel Adams, who was famously referred to as the Father of America. As well, I have chosen the biography Samuel Adams, The Life of an American Revolutionary. Samuel Adams was very involved with the American War for Independence, as he was one of the people who helped fund and conspire to revolt against the British to the point where he was loved by the Americans and hated by the George III loyalists. Events that highlighted Samuel Adams. Samuel Adams had very many significant roles in history when it came to fighting for the freedom America deserved. For one, he helped the Loyal Nine lead a resistance against the Stamp Act. With the Loyal Nine's help, they led popular riots known as the Stamp Act Riots of 1765. Along with that, Samuel Adams organized the Boston Tea Party, which was another political protest which occurred December 16, 1773. Why I chose Samuel Adams, The Life of an American Revolutionary. I chose this biography to provide a significant cover over the important stages in Samuel Adams' life. It provides information on the early stages in his life and how he became known in history. It also provides how he became a political figure. This book goes over all the importance in Samuel Adams' life, starting with the beginning, his family and their shortcomings along with the advances he was given as a child which his father did not have. The book brings us through his political uprise and how he became so powerful. Overall, this biography covered everything in Samuel Adams' life, which helped me answer the questions and get to know and understand him a little bit better. Was Samuel Adams controversial and still controversial to this day? Samuel Adams was one of Boston's most prominent revolutionary leaders. He was known for his ability to harness popular resentment against the Parliament's authority to tax the colonies in a productive manner. His role in the origins of the American War of Independence cannot be understated. His unique perspective and his ability to galvanize popular support were pivotal in the success of the Boston Tea Party. With his controversial opinions against the British government, he is a good example as to why sometimes being a leader in a protest against being mistreated can end in unethical and tyrannical leadership. George III loyalists at the times considered Adams to be actual Satan, with the painter during the time saying if he wanted to have a portrait of Satan, he would have Samuel Adams sit in for the portrait. Samuel Adams' backstory and life circumstances. The biography states that Samuel Adams was born into a life of promise. When he was born, his father wanted to give young Adams a gentleman's education in which he had not received. His childhood was also filled with a lot of disparity and death, as his mother and father gave birth to a dozen children with only 3 surviving. During this time, he turned to his older sister who had given him advice and counseled him. Young Samuel was said to grow up happy because he grew up with an increasingly prosperous and politically influenced family, which can explain how he was later in life. In 1729, he attended the Boston Latin School, which he became fluent in Latin and introduced him to Greek. He later attended Harvard College in 1736, where he was placed in a small class of 23 students. With a role model who was so politically involved, Samuel Adams had a great setup to what he was going to do in his future. He knew how to get what he wanted when it came to political matters because he watched his father climb the political ladder, and he knew that with politics comes power. Events and decisions that catapulted Samuel Adams into the historical record. Samuel Adams drafted the Massachusetts Circular Letter, which advocated for a return to the neglectful government which had been enjoyed by the colonists prior to the revoking of the Massachusetts Charter in 1688. The Stamp Act riots and the Massachusetts Circular Letter left a strong impression on the Parliament, and after the riots that ensued as a result of the Liberty Affair, preparations for resistance were now well underway in the colonies. Samuel Adams did everything in his power to garner support from the colonial merchants who would be hurt by the Tea Act. Samuel Adams started by forming the Boston Committee of Correspondence. The object of the committee was to communicate with other British North American colonies in order to share methods of resistance of taxation without representation. On October 21st, 1773, Adams drafted a letter to the other colonies stating that all the colonies would be united in the resistance to the Parliament's efforts to vend the tea to America. These two acts committed could not have been possible without Samuel Adams. In both cases, he gathered support to make the riots happen and organized them both. When it came to politics, Adams knew exactly what to do and did not waste a minute gathering support from committees and other powerful people to get his points across. Samuel Adams. Adams did not have many shortcomings when it came to his political career. However, financial management was not Adams' forte. After being elected tax collector in 1756, Adams performed his duties so poorly that he soon indebted the government. Within years of inheriting his father's malt house, the business was bankrupt and the business itself began to crumble. With that being said, it can be inferred Adams was not knowledgeable when it came to what his father did. Though he did have a Harvard education, Adams could not manage to continue his father's malt house or perform his duties as a constable well. Remembering Samuel Adams. When remembering Samuel Adams, people should think of a natural leader who stood up for his people and what he believed in. He should be a role model to many who are in bad situations and need to stand up for what's right for everyone and not just yourself. He can be seen as a natural leader as he worked with others who supported his cause, planned and supported riots. He also organized the Boston Tea Party, which is still talked about today. He was someone who stood up for what was right and fought for himself and everyone else affected by the unjust ruling. These three quotes are the quotes I used from the book Samuel Adams, A Life of an American Revolutionary. And thank you for watching my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it and were enlightened on the revolutionary Samuel Adams.